What's up, y'all? We are back for another episode of Season 2 of Backpacks and Hair Wraps. Before we get into this week's episode, I want to pray for you. Dear Divine Creator, I ask that you silence me and that you speak through me. May everyone that can hear the sound of my voice be touched and filled with your spirit. May everyone that can hear the sound of my voice be touched and filled by your grace, your love, and your divine wisdom and internal understanding. I thank you so much for this platform. I thank you for everyone that is tuned in right now. I ask that chains be broken. I ask that we be set free, and I ask that love be entered into our hearts. This I pray on this day, and it is so. All right, thank you so much for praying with me. This episode is called How Journaling Saved My Life. Yes, journaling was a key component in saving my life during that time that I was suicidal. Okay, so back when I graduated from college in 2014, I was gifted with a journal. And that journal came from my mother. It was a graduation gift, but I didn't write in it. I put it away. And then later that year for Christmas, when I was pregnant with my oldest son, Jarvis Jr., my mother-in-law gave me another journal. Once again, I put the journal away. Okay, let's fast forward some more. I started working for the state of Texas, and time passed by. I was working there for a little while, and then there was some kind of occasion that came up, and one of my coworkers bought me a journal, and I was just like, okay, something is up. Why do people keep gifting me journals? And they were noteworthy because each journal's design was really dope. It really spoke to me, and I really felt a pull to write, but then there was also that voice that kept me from writing, so I didn't write anything. Now, when I was a child, writing was a gift that I was really tapped into. I wrote poems a lot. I wrote stories a lot. I journaled my thoughts. I was really big into writing. I even used to win contests and stuff for writing. I would write speeches for church. I remember my first contest I won was the Young Authors Contest. And that was in that was in first grade. Okay, I'm back. That was Freedom. She woke up for the day, so I had to go and get her situated, but I am here. So, yeah, I used to write a lot as a kid. As children, we know what our gift is when we come here. We are already in tune with what our gift is. We know. And so, yes, I was very tapped in at a young age when it came to writing. But as life progressed, that's something that just faded away from me. I know I also started getting discouraged with writing once I got to college because of all of the research papers, all of the term papers. Writing became like a chore. It became something I had to do to get grades, and I just didn't like it anymore, so I was burnt out on writing. So getting that journal after graduating from college, I just didn't really feel led to write. I just didn't want to. Okay, now this year, 2014, when I got the journal from my mother-in-law, that was when I was pregnant, and then Jarvis Jr. was born in February of 2015. So 2015 was that hard year. First time mom, going through these battles, wanting to break generational curses, not really knowing how, just feeling away, being suicidal, attempting it, having the thoughts, battling that depression, battling that anxiety, being in a new city, not really knowing how to cope and adjust. I wasn't writing. But on the night of New Year's Eve, it was December 31st, 2015, I picked up one of those journals and I wrote some goals. I don't know what came over me, but I just said, you know what? Year 2016 is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. I am going to be in a different place by this time next year. something just came over me and I started writing. I wrote out these intentional goals. I know I wrote one of them was to get married. I know another one was for us to just settle into our home more. Another one was to find my gift and to tap into my passions. Another one was to do well in grad school. Another one was to earn my CTCM certification. Those were the ones that I can just remember off the top of my head. Okay, wrote those goals down, and I felt something in me shift. I knew that those goals were going to come to life. Not only would those goals come to life, but like I said, I would be in a different place at that time next year. Some months passed, and I realized that these goals had come true. I had passed my CTM certification. I had a great GPA for my first semester of grad school. Me and Jarvis, we had got married. We went to the courthouse one day. We just ditched our wedding plans that we had been waiting on. We just went ahead and went to the courthouse, and we got married, and it was all love. It was all good. And things just started really changing for us. I started feeling different about life. I started becoming more mindful of certain things. And I realized that power in writing out those goals. I remembered how powerful it was to write out goals, because prior to writing those out, I hadn't wrote out any since college. Okay. I had also wrote some prayers out for my marriage before me and Jarvis actually got married. We started working on the Love Dare, and I started writing those prayers out, and I started seeing that, wow, these prayers are coming true as well. And I started feeling like, you know what? Writing these things out before they happen is helping them manifest. And I didn't even really know about the whole manifestation movement, even though it's something that I had pretty much been doing before. Like I said, I used to write my goals in college. I used to write my goals in high school. I even used to write my goals as a child. But I stopped doing that during my pregnancy. And after that postpartum period, I just wasn't in that headspace to do so. But I started seeing, you know what? Writing this stuff down makes it real, because you gotta write it, you gotta believe it, you gotta see it, and then you gotta put in the work to make it happen. So writing goals, it shifted me. Okay, after these goals, I started writing prayers. And then I started writing these affirmations, just speaking this positivity over my life. Once again, I'm shifting. I'm coming out of this place. I'm like, okay, things are getting good. I'm becoming these things I'm writing down. I'm becoming the answer to these prayers that I'm writing out from my heart to the Creator. Okay, even more so, I started back writing poems. And writing poems, I remembered, I was like, wow, this used to be my gift, yo. This used to be my jam, to write poems. And I started writing those poems, and I got into meditation, and my poems, they were getting more spiritual. They were getting more they were growing. And I just tapped into this whole nother realm when it came to writing. I found writing as a communication tool from me to the Creator, from the Creator to me, and it was special. It gave me something to live for. I enjoyed waking up again. I enjoyed my time getting up in the morning and going to write in my journal. It just became a special time for me. And so that was a big part of my awakening, was writing. And then I realized more and more, just writing the vision. I was writing the vision out for the book of Corinthians. I was writing the vision out for my family. I was writing out the vision for humanity. I was writing out the vision for the consciousness shift that will take place. And man, it just mind-blowing. Even now, as some days I'll just go back and read over those words at times where I may have a low moment, or I may feel doubtful, or I may feel like, things aren't happening as quick as I want them to. I'll go back and pick up a journal, anyone, and I will get inspired, and I will get uplifted, and I'll be like, there's power in the tongue. There's power in words. There is power in writing. So journaling shifted me from a place. It helped me with writing my goals. It helped me with writing affirmations. It helped helped me with writing God prayers. It shifted me when it came to thinking differently. It helped me also with tapping into my gift of poetry and writing. And now, I have books that I have written from poems that I was writing a while back. I have books now. I have a blog. I have this podcast. I have this app where I send out these daily affirmations from writing, just positive notes, positive messages from the Creator. So journaling really did something for me. So I encourage journaling. Journaling also gave me an outlet to process my thoughts and my emotions when I didn't feel like I had anybody to talk to. Because during this time, we were out there in Round Rock, Texas, pretty much alone. And so writing in my journal, it gave me an outlet to just process the stuff that was on my mind. It gave me moments to just write out my frustrations, my sadness, everything. And it's like I just felt free being able to express myself. I felt free. It didn't matter who read it. It didn't matter who heard me. I did, and I could make sense of what I was putting on that paper. And so, yes, journaling became therapy for me. It just became something so special to me. And at this time, 2016, I wasn't doing my blog. I wasn't writing books. I was just writing for therapy and just writing to connect with the Creator, writing as my form of meditation, writing as my form of prayer. And I was just enjoying it and just so tapped into it. So now I encourage other people to journal, and not for the sake of, writing a book or for the sake of writing poetry, but for the sake of giving yourself an outlet to process what it is that you were going through, giving yourself an outlet to write and speak positively over yourself, giving yourself an outlet to be intentional about your goals, your dreams, your hopes and desires. And if you don't know those things, that's fine. But writing out how you feel is a really good start to being able to understand what it is that you want from life, just starting by writing what you feel, writing how you're thinking at the time. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's something that I encourage in my classroom as well. One day we did an exercise in my class, and I just got all of my students in every single class to literally write about something that had been bothering them, something from a while ago, like early childhood, their middle school. So I told them to write about something from your early childhood that you never truly processed or that you've never talked to anybody about. Don't worry about who's going to read it. Don't worry about me checking it. Don't worry about getting a grade for it. I just want you to write from your heart. And a couple of them were hesitant at first, but eventually they wrote something down on that paper, and I could just feel the energy shift in the room. I had some kids crying. I had some kids they just told me, you know what, Miss, I feel better. I feel free. Some of them that cried, they felt better after they wrote and released what it is that they were crying about. It was a really magical day. And I was like, you know what? Journaling isn't just beneficial for adults. It's beneficial for kids too. And I remembered as a child from watching my students' interaction in that classroom. I remember how as a child, how therapeutic it was for me to write in my journal every day. I used to write in it every night. And at that middle school age, when you were trying to figure out the world, when you feel like your parents aren't on your side, even though they are, may feel like they're not at the middle school age. You're going through puberty, you're going through changes, things don't make sense to you. But being able to have that outlet is so important. Doesn't matter if you're the best writer, doesn't matter if you have the best grammar structure, all of that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is just being in tune and being able to speak from your heart when it's necessary. So again, I encourage journaling. I encourage people to journal no matter what age you are. Doesn't matter about how fancy your journal is. Doesn't have to be a scheduled time, but just give yourself that outlet. I would like to give you a few tips when it comes to journaling. Nothing too serious or too stressful, and with anything, I always encourage you to take what resonates with you and also just put your own spin on things. But I'm just going to share some tips that have helped me when it comes to journaling. Those 3 journals that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, so the 3 journals that I was gifted were different journals. They all had different designs. And so when I started writing, I used those different journals for different things. One of them, it had something about ideas. It was very colorful on the front. That became my idea journal. Then another one of the journals, it had butterflies on it. That became my goal journal. That's the one that I used when I wrote those goals out on midnight. And then the third one, that was the one, it was green. It had 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the chapter about love on it. And that actually was my prayer journal. So even now, I use different journals for different things. I use one of my journals to write poems in. I use one of them to write my business ideas, my business projects in. On another one, I use it to write my goals. I even have specific journals and notebooks for each member of my family, my immediate family. One for my husband, and then one for each of my children. I have one for my journey as a teacher. I just like to compartmentalize and be organized, and I just believe I'm so big on energy. So each journal serves a different purpose for me. So yes, I advise, having different journals for different things that you are going through, or however it's working out in your life, whatever you're going through, or whatever aligns most with you. Another thing that I like to encourage with journaling is to really just set your atmosphere, set up your space the way that you like, so that you're comfortable and this is a thing that you enjoy. Nobody wants to do anything that feels like a task or that feels like work. So I like to, like when I journal in my room, I like to get my nightstand area clean, my little altar space. I like to light my incense, my sage, and all of the things like that. Get my crystals out and just create me a nice atmosphere. Oh, and if you need crystals or sage or anything like that, your girl got you. You can visit CorinthiansLighthouse.com. I do have that on the shop page, but that's not necessary for you to use. That's just something I suggest. I like to do that. And then another thing I like to suggest with journaling is to try to make it a regular thing. We always have something to express. It doesn't matter if it is once a day, once a week. Just make some time to really just check in with yourself and see how you are feeling on a regular basis. As with any mindfulness tool or any practice, anything doesn't necessarily have to be mindfulness related. I always encourage to go into things with an open mind and an open heart, not really expecting any particular outcome to happen. When I started writing like that in 2016, I wasn't setting intentions to write a book. I wasn't expecting to write poetry. I was just writing and speaking from my heart, and those things manifested into greater things. But initially, I just started writing and flowing from my heart, giving myself an outlet to freely express myself. Before we go, let's meditate together. This week, I want our meditation to be a little different. I would like to encourage you to actually use this meditation to set the tone for your journaling experience. So before you actually get into this meditation, please go and get a journal of some sort, a notebook, something that you have specific just to write your thoughts in. If you do have your copy of the Beauty in the Bayou workbook already, that would be a great tool to use to journal. There are so many spaces in that workbook to write your thoughts, journaling prompts, there's free space, there's questions. If you haven't got it already, it is available on Amazon. It's also available on my websites, both of them, thebookofcorinthian.com as well as CorinthiansLighthouse.com. If you don't have a workbook, just get your journal, whatever you can, to record your thoughts. Go ahead and take a little moment, get that, set your atmosphere however you'd like it before we begin this meditation. All right, now that you are in your comfortable space and you have your journal or your workbook or whatever outlet you're using to write, let's go ahead and sit up straight. Either sit cross-legged or in a chair, but make sure that your shoulders are straight. Take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Picture white light around your journal or your workbook. Breathe in and out, in and out, in and out. What are you feeling in this moment? Be honest. Breathe in and out. What emotions are you suppressing? Breathe in and out. What have you remained silent about far too long? In and out. Breathe in and out. Place your hands over your heart. Affirm these words. I allow myself to speak freely, openly, and truthfully about my experiences. I allow myself to communicate from my heart space. With this pen, I scribe intentions set in love. With this ink, I write letters from my heart. And it is so. Deep breath in and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now take your pen and write whatever flows from your heart. Do this as long as you see fit. peace and love be upon you. Until next time.